oh, right, I gotta mirror image you. All right, so, oh, that's weird for me, the mirror image, that's kind of funny. All right, and it goes in front of your solar plexus, which is right here. That's our sense of identity. And so this type of mudra is an energizing mudra. It's also a balancing mudra. So that can be very helpful. And when you're practicing a mudra is just similar to a mudra you do with your whole body. And it's attracting or bringing into your body a certain type of energy. And so this one is balancing and strengthening. And you can also sit with your mudra and breathe and close your eyes and maybe focus on your intention. You can say a mantra at the same time you're holding a mudra. So for this mudra, you might say something like, strength is running through me. Or I am strong. Or you could say the same thing about balance. I am balanced. And people have studied these are cultures have studied these different mudras. There's literally, I mean, I have 3 whole books on mudras, and some of them are similar and some are different. So usually what happens is you find a mudra that you like and you befriend it. So if this one works for you, great, great. There's another one that's for strengthening, and it looks like this. So if you like this one more, then you can do that one. This one's make a fist and place your knuckles together like this so they're upright. That one, I can feel the strength, right? But they both are, and everyone's going to feel it kind of differently. I was showing my daughter yesterday 3 different mudras, and she chose the one that appealed to her. So one's not necessarily better than the other, but it is something you befriend, and the more that you practice it, the more that it becomes part of your being, and it may attract that energy even more because you're drawing the intention. So choose which one you want, either this mudra or this mudra. We won't hold it long. We're going to hold it for about 5 to 20 breaths. You can always release it if your hands are uncomfortable. So I'm going to say something like strength and balance are running through me. So take some nice full breaths. That means the deep breaths, right? Those are the breaths where the belly's expanding first. We just did a pop-up on breathing yesterday, so if any of you want that recording, let me know. Just getting ready to send that out. Breathe in and breathe out through the nose. So you could, when you're doing your mudra and your mantra, as you inhale, you might say something like, I am strength on the inhale. And then you exhale out through your nose. You could say, I am strength on the exhale, or maybe you say, I'm balance on the exhale. So inhale, I am strength. Exhale, I am balance. A few more times. Inhale, I'm strength. Exhale, I am balanced. And feel your hands in whatever position they're in. And then we'll release that and let it go. Let's circle the wrist. So we can still put our thumbs on the inside of the palms and roll them around one way. Yup. And then the other. Ooh, crackle pops are going. They are going. All right, let that go. Let's circle the arms forward and then out to the side. So inhaling forward, exhaling out to the side. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Breathing in and breathing out and breathing in and breathing out. And we're going to turn this into breath of joy. We haven't done it in a while, but I do love that breath. It's very energizing. So if you're feeling like you've got any fatigue, you could, if you decide after you take a nap, maybe you want to give yourself a little energy, you do breath of joy. So breath of joy is inhale forward, exhale out to the side, inhale forward, exhale, ha. I can't hear you, but you know, I want to hear you through the screen. So let's go for it. It's inhale forward, exhale out to the side, inhale forward, exhale, ha. Inhale, exhale, inhale, ha. Now, you can do this standing. I'll show it. You don't have to do it standing, but I'm just going to give you that option so you know what it looks like. So inhale, exhale, inhale, ha. Yeah. Inhale, exhale, inhale, ha. It's like you're slicing the air with the ha as you bend your knees. Inhale, exhale, inhale, ha. Inhale, exhale, inhale, ha. One more, inhale, exhale, inhale, ha. So just notice how you feel. Take a little time here. If you feel any dizziness, right, stop. Of course, get yourself balanced. How do we get ourselves balanced when we're feeling a little bit dizzy? We want to ground down. So if you're feeling dizzy, of course, you want to find a position of balance and then push down through your feet. That's going to ground you down, right? We can even push down through our palms. That's going to ground us down. Push down through your hips if you're seated. That's going to ground us down. And then we lift up and out of our waist. All right. So let's work a little bit on lengthening the legs. I like to start with, I always start with lifting the leg and circling around because we got to get into the joints. And that's most important so that we can find an optimal range of motion at first. And then come back to center and hold underneath your thigh. Now you could use a tie. I cleaned up too well here. I put them over there. You could put a tie underneath your thigh. Ooh, that rhymes. Sorry, sometimes I have to entertain myself. So lifting the knee up and then try to isolate just the lower leg. Ooh, that takes a little brain power, doesn't it? So we're just, you don't have to use a tie, by the way. You can use your hands. I was just showing you there's an option. And then go ahead and reverse that. Reverse that. It definitely takes a little bit of thinking power. And then let's lower that down and do the other side. So again, hands under thigh or use your tie. And circle, or hand in front of the shin actually for this one. Circle the knee around and about. That's it. Your circles can get a little bit bigger. You can start small. So small's okay, right? Like it's building a little bit of more coordination. And then we start to make it bigger and bigger and bigger to your range of motion, depending upon really the size of your hip joint and what's going on with your fascia around the joint. And then hold the knee up towards you, and we're going to isolate the lower leg. So start to circle the lower leg around and about. So no matter which way you're going, we're going to go the opposite way in a moment. And circle it around and about. Good. And then let's release that down. Take a little break, just notice how you feel. And we're going to take our hands, go down the leg. First, go down the front of the leg. It's a little bit of a massage, right? We're going to go down, give yourself a little massage, moving the fascia around as you breathe. Make sure you're grounding down through your seat, no falling forward, right? And then move your hands around to the back of the calf and massage that. And then we're going to do what's called bifurcating. That's a big word. I love that word. I know it's kind of it's an interesting word, bifurcate. So we're going to bifurcate the calf. So what you're going to do, you don't have to pick your leg up like this. I'm just showing you. We're going to take our fingers and kind of get into the center of the calf and then press the fingertips into the center of the calf. So you can do that while you're here. I just wanted to show you that. So it looks like this. I've got my thumbs in the front, but I'm cupping my hand in the back and run your fingers up the back of the calf. And then you can actually go to the side. So I personally think that massage is awesome for rigidity and spasticity. It's great to pay somebody to do it. That's the best. If you can, or bribe somebody to do it. And you can use a lotion while you're doing it, which is really nice. You can use oil. This time of year in the Ayurveda world, they would suggest coconut oil because it's hot out. But if you're allergic to that, you want to use something more neutral. Sesame oil is more heating. And you might find something with lavender in it. That also, lavender could be very helpful, right? Because it's a relaxing for the muscles. And then let's go to the other side. So again, we're bifurcating the calf. We're taking our fingers and kind of pressing them in. You can lift your leg, but you're probably more comfortable to go forward and do that. So, and then make sure you're massaging the sides of your leg. So fascia is very responsive to massage while you're breathing. I do have people tell me that their breathing practices do help the rigidity and spasticity. Is it a cure-all? No, but it tends to help relax the nervous system. So you always want to pair the breath with whatever you're doing. And then I'm going to work back behind here. It's like you're going to, you're dividing the calf in half. Ooh, another rhyme. It's rhyme day. So you're pulling the skin away from each other. You're dividing it up in the middle of the calf. There you go. And then let that go. And I can even feel, like I'm feeling the effects of even my right leg while I was doing my left. And you might notice some different energy and circulation is running through there as well. And then I do recommend, I haven't talked about it in a while, but you can use a rolling pin. You could use some type of, you could use a cane for sure and get back behind. The same thing you can do to your hamstrings in your calf here, behind your hamstrings. I know you're going, is this yoga? But it is, because we're breathing and we're releasing the muscle before we get going. I love the cane because you can really get back behind there and do a little bit of pressure. So I know some of you don't have one with you right now, but it's an awesome thing to use. So you can use your fingers too. You kind of get back there just like we were doing with the calf. Notice how these are thicker muscles, right? They're thicker muscles. They're going to be a little bit harder to get into, and those hamstrings might feel like cords. So they need attention. Can't just rush through it. We'd like to rush through it, right? Unless you're going for a massage, then you want it to last forever and ever. So You can use the cane. Now, my other favorite is one of those rollers, but those are harder to use. So canes are awesome. They're awesome. And they have multiple uses, not only just an ambulatory device. All right, we'll put that to the side. Oh, well, I should show this too, because this is the IT band, and this IT band, get it thick. It's so thick. It's one of the thickest muscles in the body, if not the thickest. So you want to go up and down the IT band. You can do it along the side of the calf as well. You can do it with your finger or your knuckles, and notice how tender it is. Mine is tender. So you want to get into that area. We could spend the whole class on this, but I won't, because I know you guys want to move. I'm going to put that to the side, and let's stretch our legs out long in front of us, pushing the heels down, lifting tall, and circle the ankles. Draw circles with your toes. Bring in circulation into your feet, right? And it's real easy to get swollen this time of year. So one of the best things you can do is move and put your legs up after you're done doing whatever you're doing, taking a walk or your exercise for the day. Although Esther's going to exercise all day, so I don't know when she's going to get that into her schedule. And then now with your legs like this, go ahead and point your toes away and then pull them towards you. Point them away, pull them on in, point them away, breathe. Notice when you point away, the stretch is on the front of the leg. Now, when you pull the toes towards you, it's on the back of the leg. And then pull it back in. Now, sometimes when people have spasticity, if they hold a stretch too long, the leg spasms back again. So we have to listen to the body. And if we start to notice that it's spasming, stop the stretch, let it go, take a break, start again. Let's put the tie around the right leg so we can stretch it out. Now, it's really nice to put your foot on something in front of you. I've got these two blocks. You could have a sofa or an ottoman, something to put your feet on, pillows to relax it down, and then we're going to pull the toes towards us. Now, if you don't have that, of course, you can lift the leg, but I want you to really focus, if you do that, on relaxing the muscles, relaxing the fascia on your bones so that you can feel the stretch. Relax it. That's the hardest part, right? Breathe in, breathe out, soften with each breath, soften with each inhale and exhale. Now, when we've got a lot of rigidity or spasticity, it takes a while to work it out. So the stretching we could stretch all class in 5 positions or less. So holding sometimes is a really good thing. We're going to turn the leg out now, and let's get to the other hamstring that's towards the side. Notice what you feel. Breathe in, breathe out, try to stay tall. And so if you relax the leg down, a little bit less effort in the muscles, and then we might get a little bit more of a stretch. Inhale, toes back up. Let's release the leg. And before you go to the other side, just feel this one. Feel this one. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's do the left side. So a lot of this is what one of my teachers likes to call lather, rinse, repeat. We keep doing the stretches in different ways to get at the tightness. So now we're gonna keep the heel down on something, it's resting down, or bring it up. And your leg may be bent. It may not be straight. That's okay. That's okay. You're working through that. You're pushing through the heel. The toes are towards you. And if you start to feel a spasm, you could point your toes and flex them and check out how that is. I love the feeling of pushing the foot into the tie and then pulling it back away and press it away and pull it back in. Take a breath in. Feel this rising up through the center of your body to the crown of your head and beyond. And then exhale and feel the energy come back down. And with each breath, soften. So we inhale. And then we exhale and sending a softening message to the leg. Let's turn it out. Notice how it feels different, getting a different stretch here when you turn it out. Inhale, toes back upright. Exhaling, let that go. Put your tie to the side. And let's extend now the right leg and go into a twist. So sit tall towards the edge of the chair. Let's interlace our fingers and press the wrist lines away. Awesome. Pull it back in. Press it away. Exhale, take your hands to the top of the thigh, round your spine into our first cat-like pose. The spine is rounding. Then inhale, push the palms away, lifting about chest height. Exhale, press the palms down into the thigh, chin is to chest. Then release for a twist. So let's open up the palm. So the palm is facing away and the thumb is towards your knee. And then take your left hand behind you. Try to twist from the navel up. There's going to be some twisting in the lower body. That's okay as long as you don't feel any pain. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, feeling that left shoulder blade move in towards the spine, lifting through your heart. Nice and expansive through your heart. Inhale to center. Come back to center. Just notice how you feel. And then let's bring the heels together and the knees out for butterfly. The other day I saw 2 butterflies after thinking to myself and reading how the butterfly's endangered, which I totally believe, but it was pretty cool to see them, even more appreciative. I felt more appreciative. And now bring the knees back in and extend the left leg. Sit tall. Good. Interlace the fingers. Whichever thumb is on top, you're going to switch it. So switch the whole thing. That's it. Press your palms away. It feels different. No question about it. We have habit patterns. That's exactly where our brain goes to. The place of least resistance. Let's pull the knuckles in. Press them away. Pull them on in. And press them away. Good. Maybe you start to lift them up. You might bend your elbows. Maybe. We go upwards. And then bring it back down. Hands to the top of the thigh, round your spine, lean back. Take your focus to the lower spine. Inhale, palms are forward. Exhale, press it on in. Inhale, palms are forward. Exhale, press it in. Good. Find your twist. So now the left palm's going to face towards your right, and then the right hand's behind you. Feels good, that first twist. Notice how it feels in your body. Take a breath in. You're going to feel like a sponge is being twisted. You know how you wring it out? That's kind of like what's going on in there as we twist. Breathe in, you might feel a little bit of constriction as you breathe in a twist. That's normal. Breath is in through the nose and out through the nose. Softening. And releasing, bring it back in. So what happens when we have spasticity or rigidity is we lose the lower back curve. Now, I tend to have a really big lower back curve, but here's what a lower back curve often looks tight, and it's when we lose it, when there's spasticity and there's pulling down on it. One of the reasons, well, we've got all that pulling going on, so we lose that curve. If you take your, I'm just sitting sideways so you can see. You might take one or both hands to your back and feel your curve. If it feels really flat to you, we need to loosen that up. Again, a great massage idea to get in that lower spine. Let's do a little bit of pelvic tilting. So pelvis goes forward. Now the curve comes in. You feel that with your hands. Now press the pelvis back into your palms. The belly pulls in a bit. Yeah, and you're leaning back, and that tightness, you feel that the lower back gets straighter, right? So you don't feel the curve so much. So forward, that's pelvis forward. The top of the pelvis is moving forward. That's how they figure that one out. And then we take it back, feels a little tighter. Do the pelvic tilt a few times, forward and back. Now I suspect as we stretch out the leg that the lower back curve is going to get a little bit more movement in there. So that's what we're doing. Now let's do cat-cow pose. I'm going to stay sideways just so you can see me. Hands are on the thigh. When we're doing cat-cow pose, we could focus on the shoulders or we could focus on the lower back or both. But let's take our mind's eye to the lower back as we tilt forward and back for cat pose. So as we lean back, the pelvis is moving back. Chin is to the chest, the belly pulls in. Now we're going to tilt the pelvis forward and lift the heart. This is a baby back bend here. The baby back bend. So now the curve is coming back in. Exhale, round. Lean back. Inhale, lift up. Pelvis is forward. Notice what you're feeling. I have a lot of movement in my pelvis as we're just towards, well, we're halfway through, but notice what kind of movement's there. So as we stretch more throughout the class, you may notice more movement coming in to the lower spine. So pelvic tilts are one of the best things we can do to bring that on in. And just to make sure you've got it, take your hands to the front of the pelvis as you tilt forward and back so you can feel that. Lean forward, pelvis leans back. The pelvis leans forward, there's a little bit of a back bend. Then we lean it back. Good. Come back to center. And let's do a little movement this way. We're going to take our right leg and straighten it out, and then point and straighten it, and point and flex and point and flex and point and flex. Good. Take your left forearm to the thigh. Let's get a big stretch here. Now, if you'd like, take your toes forward. If it's accessible to you, press your right toes forward as you push down, or you could push the inside of the big toe side of your foot down. What we're going to go for is a line of energy going from the heel all the way through the side of the body as we lengthen the arm up overhead. It might start in cactus, and then you can kind of play with bending and straightening, because we worked a lot on Wednesday with shoulders. Today we're focusing a little bit more on lower body, and then lengthen. So now notice if you're leaning a lot to the left, push down more through that right foot, right? Push down through that right foot. Now, what's the pelvis doing here? What you can do, let's take our hand back to our hip, is take your pelvis back. Take your pelvis back. You're going to notice a softening in the front of the body. So press your hips back. Notice that's the pelvic forward. Then anchor your left hip down, and it's going to not be quite the blossoming back there at the buttocks is going to lessen just a little bit. We call that blossoming when the buttocks goes back. And then maybe take your arm up over your ear and stretch long. So we're feeling length from our fingertips to the side of our foot and back up from the foot through the side of the leg, side of the body, arm. Now we're going to push down through our foot or both feet, push down through both feet and rise up and release your arms. Let's bring that foot back in. Notice how your body feels. Let's do a few little circles here. So easing the body after it's had more of a static pose, and then circle the other way. As you inhale and exhale, we want to keep reminding ourselves to breathe. One of the people in the breathing session yesterday was saying that the breathing during yoga feels different. Well, it's real easy to forget to breathe when we're moving. And so that's part of the practice, is remembering it and come back to center. And yes, the breath is going to change as we're moving. It's not going to be necessarily as calming of a breath, right? Because you're moving and you're working. So take your pelvis back once your left leg is out to the side. And if the leg's not feeling like going out so far, you can always bend that knee back in a bit. So take the pelvis back. Notice how that feels a little weird. It's inviting in a back bend. And then with that, push down through the right sitting bone. Do that a few times. Tilt your pelvis forward and then bring it back up and forward and back up and forward and back up. So we're doing it in different positions just to get that feeling of that lower back curve. Now, let's take our arm to the thigh, push it down, but create space here, pull the belly in and lift that arm up. You can circle it around or start to just like bend and straighten, inviting in length into the body. So we're creating space in yoga in our body. Breathe in, breathe out, breath is in, breath is out, and then let's really lengthen here. So push down through the outside of that left foot. If it's the foot is down, if it's not, push through the inside. I know you're like, well, what is she saying? But if your whole foot isn't touching, go ahead and push down through the inside of the foot. Is you lengthen your arm over your ear and take your mind's eye to your lower back and press the hips back towards the back of the chair. That's going to invite in a little bit of a lower back curve. Now, if you're like me, it's going to be too much of a lower back curve. I'm going to push down through the right hip to get a little bit more power in there. So when we're really rigid, then we want to stretch that out. But when we're really stretchy and mobile, we got to invite in some strength. So we got all kinds of body. And in fact, in different parts of the body, you're going to find it differently. Let's press down through our feet, rise up, invite the legs back together. And we're going to work our way down to the earth, but on the way, let's do that wall dog or the version with the chair, or if you have a wall, use the wall because I love the wall. But so this is another way to invite in that lower back curve. So we're going to face the chair. Take your time if you're doing standing with us. You don't have to, by the way, right? So if you're going to do the standing part, it won't be long, but we're going to just do that lower back curve stuff again. So we're going to bend our knees here and angle our sit bones towards the sky. That's going to bring in that lower back curve. And then slowly straighten your legs. Give that a little break. Now, let's do cat pose in this standing. We're going to take our chin to our chest and angle our sit bone down towards our heel. You're going to feel the belly pull in. Then we're going to bend our knees, take our sit bones back and upwards towards the sky. So you're feeling your weight a little bit more in your heels, holding on to the chair for balance. And then let's go back to standing cat pose. So chin to chest, legs straight. They may not straighten all the way. That is fine. Pull your belly in and up. And bend. Bend. Sit bones back, sit bones up. So it's sit bones back, but then take them up. And this is called, that what some of my teachers call blossoming the buttocks. So your sit bones are literally reaching back and spreading. And then straighten the legs. Bring your chin to your chest. And now find one wall dog before we go down. So palms are in front of you. Reach your hips back. Get a little stretch through the spine. Notice how you feel. So if you're feeling super tight here, keep your knees a little bit bent. Don't straighten them all the way. What happens is when we straighten them all the way, we're going to get this rounding, and that's not what we're going for. So keep your knees a little bit bent and angle your sit bones upwards. Invite in that lower back curve. All right, let's walk towards the chair and then slowly lower down. Now you might want to bring your blanket and your strap or your cane with you and come on down so we can do some more work. Esther wants to work all weekend. That's a lot of work, Esther. All right, come on down. And we are going to do a thigh stretch. So in order to do that, you can go on your belly and keep the chair by you because I'll show another version. But we've done this before, but I want to start with, we're on a belly. Well, I'll give it two versions, two ways. And I'm going to take this away because I don't need it, but you might keep yours. We're going to go onto the belly. We're going to start here. And guess what we're going to do before we get into that thigh stretch? We're going to do pelvic tilts again. It's called inchworm. So you can relax your forehead on your stacked palms and then bend your knees and press your sit bones up. Does that look like an inchworm? What am I doing here? It's a pelvis forward here. You don't need to know that. But the sit bones, the buttocks are blossoming upwards. Then exhale, lower the sit bones down, angle them towards your heel. Let's do that again. You're an inchworm. You're going to go across. Imagine going across the room. Inhale, sit bones rise up, knees bent. Your toes are maybe pressing down like so, or they may just be hanging out. Not really important, but you're going to pull your knees toward you as your sit bones rise, and then exhale and lower it down. One more time. Really get this. So, you know, you might feel like I've been talking about pelvic tilts seated, in the chair, standing, and now we're on our bellies doing it. And so you're going to find the one, you might feel movement in different ways for each dimension. Yoga in all kinds of dimensions. One more time, sit bones rise up, pull your knees in towards you, exhale, let that go. Toes are back. Now let's let the hips sway right and left. Sway them right and left. One way, then the other. Nice massage for the lower back. We're in the massage today, right? Today and every day. Now, come back to center. Feel your pelvis about level and lift your right heel and foot up towards the sky. Notice how that feels. And then exhale and lower it down. Let's inhale and lift the left. Feel the stretch. And lower it back down. And go back the other way. And one side and then the other. Lifting and lowering. So you might start to feel a stretch in the front of the thigh, which is really important. If you don't, we're going to start to do our thigh stretches we've done before. You can stay on your belly or you can go on your side, bend your knee. You can either prop yourself up on your forearm or relax your forehead down. If that was bothering your neck, by the way, you don't want to do that. You want to keep yourself higher up. Be on your forearm, hand to the heel or the foot, pulling the heel in towards your buttocks. If you cramp here, let it go. Maybe give it a little massage or a little tapping. And then breathe. Maybe take about 3 to 5 breaths and go back in again. So here we go. We bend the heel in, grab the foot or the pant leg, grab your clothes, or you have a tie that's looped around your foot. It looks like this, and you pull it in. So you want to get a stretch, but you don't want to cause a spasm. Now we're pushing the foot into the hand or strap and the strap into the hand or foot. So when we're stretching our legs, we want to make sure we stretch the front and back of the legs. So we did some stretching in the back and we're going to do more. Never fear. Let that go. Let it go. Just notice how it feels. You might sway your hips right and left. And let's do the other side. I'm going to turn so you can see me on the other side. And if you want, you can still be on your belly or you can come onto your side like so. Use the strap or use your hand. And then you're going to kick the leg back. Try to keep the knee in line with the hip. We don't want it up here. That's really tough on the knee. So try to keep your knee down and in line with your left hip. And then you pull in and you kick back. So you're pulling the heel towards your buttocks. Now, notice if you feel a lower back curve here. Me, of course, I feel too much, so I've got to lengthen my tailbone down to my heels. You might be focusing on just bringing a little bit of softening, bringing a little bit of softening to that lower back. So that blossoming that we were doing standing, where you could really visualize that. And then release when you're ready. I really encourage you to do these poses repetitively and hold them. Not all weekend after. You got to give yourself a break. And then we're going to come onto our backs and stretch the legs out. And then we're going to do some seated work because that's really, I want to go over how we sit for our pelvis. So let's go. Now we haven't done pelvic tilts on the back. So let's do that. This can be harder for you to see, but take your hands to the top of your pelvis and make like a back bend. So what kind of animal could get under there? I don't know, a chipmunk, a smaller animal. My Oscar or Felix would not fit under this curve here. And then we're going to curve it the other way and curl it. So you can't do enough pelvic tilts to kind of loosen up that area. So tilting forward and back. Now traditionally or functionally, as we tilt the pelvis back, it's the exhale. As we tilt the pelvis forward, it's an inhale. If that's giving too much information, then just breathe. And now let's invite in both knees towards us and give ourselves a hug and roll around and massage your lower back. Massage your lower back. That should feel nice. And so you're making circles with your knees. So you're going one way. And then when you're ready, switch it up and go the other way. Circle it around and about. Around and about. Good. And then we come back to center, and we got to do our thigh stretch here. Every day. This isn't every day. It really is. I know whatever exercise you choose to do each day, this is a great one to add into your everyday routine. So we're pushing the footprint up. It may or may not, the leg may or may not straighten, but you want to feel stretch. You can play with pointing and flexing your foot, noticing how that changes. Notice how it changes. You'll feel it in the foot, you'll feel it in the calf. So pointing and flexing. You could have your hands behind your thigh instead of the strap. You don't need a loop. You can wrap it around like this. I think we talked about this last week. I like to move the strap in different places on the foot. So go ahead and move the strap, if you've got one, to the ball of your foot, and now push the ball of your foot upwards and press the heel up. Notice where the stretch is as you do this. I would say minimum 10 breaths in each pose, but really I encourage longer for these ones when you're trying to work out a certain type of thing going on in your body. Now, let's go to the center of the heel with the center of the arch with the strap, and notice if that changes the stretch. Imagine that there's a weight on the top of your foot, and so your leg is going straight down into the hip socket. Now, if you're not feeling enough, you can straighten the bottom leg. That is an option, but only if you're not feeling enough of a stretch. Now, the next place we're going to move the strap is towards the heel, and then bend and straighten and feel the stretch there. Notice if it changes as you pull the strap down towards your heel. And it did change for me, so notice what it does for you. Sensation is different in all of us. Breathe in and breathe out. And then let the leg go. Let the leg go and just feel whatever you're feeling. Let's bring the knees in and give it a little massage. Again, lower back's getting its massage today. You can also, with your hands on the front of your knees or shins, push your shins into your hand. That's going to straighten the spine. Then pull the knees in towards you. Notice what that does. So you can kind of play with rocking and noticing how the pelvis changes as you rock. Okay, strap around the left foot. And left may feel a little bit tighter than right. Remembering to bend and straighten a few times. Point and flex. Wow. So when I did that, definitely this left side is tighter than the right. That happens from different movement patterns going on. Different things going on. We are asymmetric beings. We're not going to be mirror images on each side. And then move the strap to the ball of the foot. And push the ball of the foot like you're stepping on the gas up towards the sky. So that changes it too. Try not to lock the knee. You might use your right hand and give a tap behind the knee so it's not locking. No locking over there, buddy, okay? And then we're pushing the heel up. Then change the strap, pull it into the center of the arch, press up. Notice the change. Maybe straighten the leg, maybe not, maybe not. Breathe in, breathe out. Breath is in, And breath is out. Ooh, you can feel it in different places for sure. I'm going to move the tie to the heel. You can always stay longer in one place. You don't have to follow me entirely either. Notice how it's different when you place the strap on the heel. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Let's let this all go and do a back bend. And if you have a block, take it with you, or a pillow. You're going to place it under, not quite yet. We're going to do some bridges and then we're going to use the block. So feet are parallel. Arms are down by your side. Kind of walk your shoulders towards your ears so you get super long through the sides of your body. And then as you press down through your feet, lift your hips up. Maybe walk your arms underneath you a little bit. You can keep your arms long. You can interlace your hands. You can bring your palms up facing each other alongside your ribs. And then exhale, slowly lower down, lower the hips down first. That's going to keep that curve in. Let's do that again. Push down through our feet. Inhale, lift up. Breathe in. And breathe out. And exhale, lower the hips down first. Notice as you lower the hips down, the tone's not quite there. The tone lessens. And we're going to do one more time. Inhale, lift the hips. Get your full back bend here and take some nice full breaths. So breathe in through the nose. Feel the breath expand into your belly. Exhale, let it go out through your nose. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now, take a block and place it underneath your hips. If you've got one, or pillow, and relax your hips on the block. Now, if you are already feeling a really big stretch with the without the block, then you might just leave it for the stretch we did with the strap. This is how it's going to look. We're going to bring our right knee in towards us, hands behind the thigh, lift the leg upwards. You can use the strap, of course, a little bit harder to get to here. And then you might extend this bottom leg and it's going to give a little bit more of a stretch. If it's too much, bend your knees. Maybe take the block out if it doesn't feel right to you, or pillow. What it's doing, it's giving a little bit more of an angle or a little bit more of a stretch. So I'm pushing my heel upward and straightening the bottom leg. It may not straighten all the way, that's okay. You might have a little pillow underneath your head or a folded towel or blanket. If you're feeling like your head is really super low, you want your ears to be level with your shoulders. We don't want them high up like that. And we don't want the head angling back down. Let's release that and do the other side. So bend both knees back in. And then place the strap around the left foot. Or you can just straighten it up to the sky without the strap. I still think you're going to feel a stretch, dragging the right heel forward as you stretch the left leg. You also can use your hands behind the thigh. It's a little bit different with something underneath our hips. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in and breathing out. And notice how the stretch is different. Oh boy, it is. And then let's bring the knees back in, or feet back down, release the block. Now, I want to come to seated so we can talk about seated a little bit for that lower back curve. So we're going to come on up slowly. Take yourself slowly. Use your hands to come up. When we're doing seated poses, we want, if our spine is going like this, it's rounding back, That's pulling on the back. So we want to make sure we're seated on a block. See what happened? I sat on the block or a pillow and the lower back curve came back in. If you're super tight, it needs to go higher up. I had one student, her hips were super duper tight. And we made a whole big throne for her, really high up. So we want to lift our hips. That's most people. That's most people. And so don't feel like you're an outlier. You could use 3 or 4 blankets. You could start with just one folded blanket and see how that feels for you. Generally, it feels better. It feels better. So you're going to stack those blankets. And now I'm going to face forward, but I just want you to see, I wanted you to see how we need to lift our hips sometimes to bring in that lower back curve. And you can see as I'm tilting my pelvis, how the curve changes. Now we're going to be forward. And you might take your strap with you. And then we can stretch again. So for stretching again, we're going to start in stick pose with our legs forward and maybe hands down by your side, or you could have 2 blocks by your side and place your hands like this. This is kind of nice because it gives us a little bit of height there. So palms are down, shoulders up and back. Then we're going to tilt forward until you feel a stretch, keeping your head in line with your spine. And notice what you feel. You could also use a strap around your feet and only go as far to the point where you feel a stretch. You don't need to go any further. We're not about touching our toes here. Let me repeat, yoga is not about touching your toes. Misunderstanding. You will not become more enlightened because you touch your toes. Won't happen. At least that's what I'm told. So you can play with where the strap is and where you push into it to get feedback. Breathe in and breathe out and breathe in and breathe out. And then we'll lift back up and we're going to bend the left knee out to the side and take the right leg out to the side. And play here. Take your fingertips in front of you or use blocks and place your hands on the blocks and tilt forward and back. Tilt it forward and tilt it back. And tilt it forward and tilt it back. Notice how the stretch just changes by tilting forward and back a little bit, right? We don't need to do anything huge to feel the stretch. Notice how that feels. Now, if you want to stay here, you could and rest your forehead towards a block, something like this, but that's only if you're going to go down that far. If your body doesn't go down that far, that is not working. You can just walk your fingertips forward here. Now, of course, we're going to have to wrap it up, but I really suggest you find a few poses where you feel the stretch and stay in them. Stay in them, maybe put the timer on for 5 minutes or more. I know it seems like a big investment, but I think you're going to notice a change if you stay in them a little bit longer. You can relax into them. Don't have to push. You don't want to push. Here's the other side now, bending the right knee, taking the left leg out to the side, and you can tilt your pelvis forward and back here. So now this is more of the inner thigh stretch. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And then let's lean forward. Lean forward. When you feel it's enough or you start to hold your breath, that is plenty, that is too much, back off. So people say, well, the breath changes while I'm doing the yoga practice. So that's where we invite it back in. Invite the belly to expand on the inhale and soften on the exhale. So in these stretches, we really want to focus on relaxing on the exhale. So the body can relax, the nervous system can calm down, we can find a little bit more length. And let's come into butterfly. And Esther asked for a little bit of neck work. So let's dip the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Relax the jaw. Relax the tongue. And inhale, head rises up. And exhale, other way. So I'm feeling tightness in the neck, and that's also the side of the leg that's the left side is tighter, and that can go down the whole side of the body that one side is tighter. This is just awareness that we have. Yoga is bringing awareness into our mind-body connection. And then inhale, we come back to center. Now, a yin posture, you would just stay here, which you might want to do for your relaxation pose, and then maybe do a shavasana after. I'm going to show it just so you might want to do something like this. You could do any of the poses we just did, but relax here. Relax here and breathe and stay for maybe 3 minutes. You want to build up your tolerance, so it might just be 30 seconds. And then maybe longer. You also could have pillows stacked on top of your lap to relax. You could do something where one leg is out to the side and relax like that. But then you want to make sure you do the other side. So as we close our practice, you might choose a yin posture where you're practicing letting the body release, letting the body release. Now, another one that might be nice for the lower spine, and we're coming down towards Shavasana. No matter what pose you choose, make sure you do Shavasana at the end. So that's going to neutralize out your spine. But you might take a smaller block or a not so big of a pillow and put it under your lower spine and relax your hips on the block. And that could be a great place to be to let the lower back curve, invite it in, but you're relaxing your body. Great place to be. And the other place is maybe putting your feet up on the chair. If you do something like this, you might have your knees come towards each other. And so we're inviting in that softening breath, allowing the hips to relax, allowing the whole psoas area to relax. That's this area, and your hip flexors to relax. Maybe hands are on your belly. So you could just rest here for quite a while. As you would ease out of it, I would take the block out and then let the knees come in towards each other. Again, the lower back curve will be invited in. And then eventually find your way to Shavasana. Now, I would really suggest a bolster underneath the knees to help the lower back curve come on in. So it looks like this. You could use rolled blankets or pillows under there. It doesn't have to be a yoga purple bolster. But you know me, everything's purple. So this is how it looks. We're just relaxing our legs. And then the lower back curve is invited in. Arms can be down by your side or hands on your belly. So practicing that longer relaxation pose, or they're called yin postures, can be very helpful for releasing fascia in the body. Requires more restoration and less effort. And we're so used to efforting through everything. So you can stay in your Shavasana as long as you want. I'll wrap up the class so that you can move on with your day. but you stay exactly where you're at, where your body needs to be at this time. Could be in Shavasana like this, which feels awesome. Really focusing on the legs, relaxing on the bolster. It could be with your legs up on the chair. And it could be neutral Shavasana without the bolster, but if your lower back is feeling kind of tight, I highly recommend. So this is more our neutral Shavasana. And this is where you take your time to breathe and feel your body and the impact of the practice. So as I close the practice with you, I'm going to go back to that energizing mudra. Left hand is flat and right hand has a fist with the thumb going upward in front of the solar plexus. Wishing you much balance in your weekend, some exercise, some fun, some sun, breathing, healthy eating, maybe a little snack that's off the healthy eating chart just for a little treat. And maybe you say to yourself, I am strong. I am balanced. Draw an intention for yourself. Notice how the light comes into our body from our practice. Maybe feel that golden light coming through your spine, through the center of your forehead. We bring our palms together in front of our heart as we bow in with gratitude, so much gratitude for our time together, the support of the Michigan Parkinson Foundation. Namaste, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm here for any questions you have. Any questions you got, bring them at me or email me.
You have a wonderful weekend too.
You too, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mindy. That
Mindy.
was
Always
great.
good.
Good to see you. Good to see all of you.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here. It's so good to see you.
And it is.
All right.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye.